Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel where today we'll be taking a look at Trevor Siemian. The really disappointing news for me that Jameis Winston is going to miss the rest of the season with an ACL and MCL injury. Well, we'll have to see what that turns out to. Do we return to Taysom Hill? Do we return to Trevor Siemian? My initial leaning would be that they go back to Taysom Hill and make him the starter, which is similar to what you've seen them do last year. And then earlier in the season, I said that's probably what you would see, that Taysom would be the gadget player in the game, though here he was not able to do that due to injury. And then as they would go to the next game, you would probably see Taysom become the starter, where Trevor was going to be the backup. Now today, I'm still going to take a look at what Trevor Siemian did and break down the game in terms of just his snaps, the passing game, the receiving game, and we'll talk about it just in case they end up deciding to go with him as the starter. Right now, like I said, leading Taysom, and this is all because we're going to miss Jameis, which really stinks because he was having a great year. Definitely proving a lot of the pundits wrong, and you can only hope that he gets healthy and can come back next year and possibly, fight for that starting job again, or just be given the starting job and continue to perform, because he has some great passes, including the one right at the end of the last drive that he was able to complete with that beautiful TD throw on the corner route to Traquan Smith. But anyway, let's talk about Trevor Siemian. Now, the first thing I'll do is I'll actually pull this up. This is my scouting report on Trevor Siemian. Gosh, from like 5 years ago. This was my final scouting report for the national scouting competition that the Scouting Academy held. I ended up finishing third in terms of the nationals, which very proud of, and this was my final report that got me there. So this is kind of the best and the worst. This is not the full report. It's kind of like the highlights. You can see what he's good at, what he's worse at when he was the starter in the Denver Broncos organization. But more importantly, look at the scheme fit, because I think that's what really applies to New Orleans, and one of the reasons that you see him here and why he can have success under Sean Payton if they choose to go with him as the starting quarterback. Offensive systems featuring predominantly short to intermediate passing routes and play action fits well in traditional West Coast scheme. That's literally what New Orleans likes to run. Is how they like to utilize their offense, and basically just how they like to run their teams. So we're going to take a look at that and then just kind of go with it. So let's roll it. Yeah. So we're going to start with just a few snaps. Now, as you can imagine, they definitely had a lot of runs early on because you weren't really sure how he was going to do, but they did come out and pass with Trevor Siemian. There was a lot of running in this game for the Saints, but did come out play action right there. Good little job with the pass rush, and little late on the throw here as a good read by Tampa. Let's talk about the route concept and everything here. We basically just got a kind of a dagger. It's not exactly a dagger. It's actually Yankee. I didn't recognize the post, but very common concept here. Little in route with the over the top. So you got this guy beaming down. Technically the wrong throw, but I understand why it's the throw by Trevor Siemian. The reason it's the wrong throw, we talk about the Yankee concept all the time. The in route, if you draw the safety down, you want to hit the deep post. The problem with that is the pressure that Siemian is facing doesn't make that deep throw a really wise choice, even though it's technically open. The leverage is there for, I believe that's Marquez Callaway. Yeah, it's Marquez Callaway. So he ends up throwing to the underneath route that the safety jumps. Now, the safety does a great job of that. Kudos to him. But if there was no pressure here, the right read at the drop right here should be going to the post route. You can argue that it needs to go. Now, it needs to pull the trigger. This is literally his first snap as the starter, so we're not going to get too critiquey. But that is something to look at in the future. This read for this concept, I was going to call it a dagger, but it's definitely Yankee. Safety drops down. You can see corner calling for the deep, and he ends up going here. Now, it is a little late to get there, but there's two guys coming. He takes a big hit. We'll see as the game progresses on, he makes a little bit better decisions, but he also makes some wrong decisions. So, and I talked about this when Jameis Winston had his game last year, that you can't really judge a quarterback based on a backup game. Now, you can take looks at his snaps and then try to evaluate those, but this game plan was not set up for him. I know Sean Payton says the game doesn't really change much with Trevor Siemian in versus Jameis Winston, and there's truth to that. But at the same time, there's a lot that comes in when you're coming off cold and just being told to go play. So then we see them getting some simple smash concepts, things like that. You're going to see this little one here. We got identical concept on either side where we're going to run a sit route and then a corner route. So we're just going to run sit, and then corner. Now, the thing is here, He actually has the corner route if he wants it with Traquan because the safety just having so much depth, but he goes for the sure safe thing. This is something you're going to see a lot with Trevor Siemian. A lot of let's get the underneath guy, get the short pass. Get 5 yards over getting 10, 15 yards. He's not as aggressive as a Jameis Winston is. That doesn't mean he's not effective, but this is a lot of what you would see from Trevor Siemian even when he was with the Denver Broncos. Not always pulling that big trigger, and his deep ball placement was in question a few years ago with Denver. I think he had some good shots here in this game yesterday, but you see here, there is a window right here just due to the depth of the safety. The safety was playing extremely deep, whereas this one a little bit more cut off when it comes to Kevin White, the safety being right behind my chair. So let's move on to the next one. I don't necessarily mind the play. I'm not trying to speak negatively on the play, just that this is what you typically see from him as Hurst was getting barrel rolled back there. And then there's the third pass, a little off target to Callaway here. Kind of a design throw. Pre-snap read is going to decide to go left based on the solo coverage versus going to the right. Now, the underneath probably a little bit easier, this little flat route, but you've also got a lot of pressure here. As you saw, this happened quite a bit. It was actually kind of funny because you saw statistically, I think it was NFL Next Gen Stats said that no pressure or blitz was effective for Tampa, but I would argue that's not the case. Now, Trevor Siemian made the good decision. He's a guy that will get the ball out very quickly, which is one of the reasons that you see him excelling in the short intermediate pass game. But pressure is definitely an issue. And this ball was a little bit off, but the coverage was insanely good. You can see it here. Slide, gets the ball out quick. He's not a guy that usually takes a lot of sacks, which is good. His sack rate probably going to be lower than a Jameis Winston. And Jameis, I thought, did a really good job of moving in the pocket. But Jameis definitely a better aggressive thrower. All right, let's move on to the next offensive play. This is where we're going to actually run the ball, and then it gets tackled for loss. So we get put into a shotgun situation. We're going to motion tie Montgomery. We've got a 2x2 using a tight end, 11 personnel, and we're trying to keep that extra blocker in. So once again, you see the idea for, You see the idea for Siemian is to get that short, get the guaranteed yards, and get the ball out quick. That is his style. Now, it's still the right decision based on what you're seeing here. You have this little cut in, probably an option route based on whether this is man or zone, and then you've got this heading to the sidelines. This is the right play call to throw, or the right choice for throw. But this is what he does. Really quick, get the ball out and get it to a receiver, which works for guys like Deontay Harris, who are very much yards after catch guys, and even Kenny Stills to an extent, and then, of course, Alvin Kamara. So the natural fit is there. And I still think, as I said at the beginning of this video, you're probably going to see Taysom getting the majority of the share because Taysom knows the system. He's been here years, and I feel like there's a lot of loyalty there between Sean Payton and Taysom Hill. But Trevor Siemian, this is what you're getting if he has to play more snaps. Play action. Now, this is a little sail concept or a flood concept to one side of the field, and love that he is patient to let this check down simply develop naturally. This is not by design. The design of this, like I said, is a flood concept. And when we talk about flood concepts or a sail concept, I'm not even going to tell y'all a sail concept that you would know because it'll make you very upset. But essentially what you're going to do here is clearing. So you got a vertical to push, then you've got an intermediate route, and then you're going to come and have an underneath route. So that is the flood concept. So we're flooding one side of the field with routes, and you're doing it in levels. That way you attack all three layers, hopefully getting somebody open. Now, you're not really going to get any of that success here. They're going to cover it pretty well. And if you notice on the bottom of your screen, there's nobody here. This part of the field is blank, which is good, I guess, for New Orleans because there's a couple defenders here that nobody's doing anything with. Now, Garrett Griffin is our late release here. After his block ends, he's going to very lately releases a check down. But you can see coverage-wise, there ain't nowhere to go right now until very end, come back down knowing that the late release is there and get the check down. And I love the ability to progress, read, see nothing's happening, and then, as you see, get it to the guy and let him go make a play. This is something I really like about Trevor Siemian, and I did when he was a starter in Denver. Now, he'll even tell you that didn't necessarily go as well as he wanted it to. His first year, really good. Well, I'd say good, not really good. And then second year, not very good. So end up, moving on. Another thing that I like and dislike about Trevor Siemian at the same time that you can see from this angle is his ability to use varying arm angles. he will do these sidearm throws that sometimes are beautiful, other times land at the feet of receivers, which we'll see in a couple plays here in the future. I don't like that. It is good to use multiple arm angles. It's really nice to see from a quarterback, but you got to see continued accuracy when doing that. All right, we're going to an empty set, five wide, and now they're going to rush 5. Decent protection, and we're going for a deep shot to Juwan Johnson, which I like the play call. It's a little bit risky, but you know it's open immediately. Now, pre-snap read, we talk about pre-snap read for quarterbacks. Your pre-snap read is the shot is open right now. So you're going to push sideline. The reason you know it's open is because you have a single safety in the middle of the field. So if you remember when we talk about what this means for a quarterback, this means it's a middle of the field closed scenario. If middle of the field closed, that usually means outside the boundaries is open. Outside the numbers is typically going to be a shot that you can take, and he makes this read pre-snap, and it's a good decision. So let's run it through. So if you look at the routes, we've got sit, which draws these down. Outside leverage is obtained. You've also got the same thing happening on the other side, but I think Juwan Johnson's doing a little bit better job. And then the safety is coming this way because the ball's already out. So it's a spot throw. Now, the throw is not in a great spot. The perfect spot, and I hate to give credit to Tom Brady because he's annoying, but he's so good. The perfect spot is either further upfield, over the shoulder, or back shoulder here. Now, this one's a little bit fur, but you get what I'm saying. You know, because this one, the ball ends up being a little bit inside, basically between the defenders, and Juwan Johnson has to go after it. You either need to back shoulder this using the sideline to your advantage because you have outside leverage, or you do it further upfield into the empty space. So it needs to be either in this empty space or back shoulder right here so that Juwan Johnson can work back towards it. Essentially throwing it to the back of the cornerback's head is making this a very difficult completion attempt, and that's why it falls incomplete. I like the aggressiveness. I love the read. The pre-snap read was good. If you remember in the scouting report that I talked about, and I can throw it back up real quick, it's right here. See? Deep ball accuracy, touch. These are things that were an issue with him as a full-time starter. It didn't make him awful, but it did make it problematic at times, and that is something that you see here. Once again, not an awful decision, but that ball accuracy just not perfect where we've seen Jameis Winston throw it pinpoint, including when Kenny Stills dropped a similar route against the Seattle Seahawks. Okay, moving on to the next one. This is another one where we go down to Garrett Griffin. Man, had a Pro Bowl day for him. 1 catch his whole career, 3 catches today. So we have Mark Ingram come down. I'm sorry, it was Ingram. So we basically have 4 curls where we sit all the way through. We're all running to one spot, but we're attacking the field horizontally. We're trying to stretch it. But we're doing it from the same spot everywhere. So you essentially have curl out, curl out, curl out, curl out, and then a short curl over the middle. So you've essentially got the exact same play for everybody. And when they're playing this deep third, you generally will have a numbers advantage here. And it's a great, easy read for Trevor Siemian. So it's a good thing for Sean Payton to give a quarterback, especially if his style. It's a good example of Sean Payton working to the strength of Trevor Siemian while also taking what defense is giving him. Now, I love Trevor Siemian's decision here. He notices that this DB, or the linebacker, goes a little bit too far out in his leverage, probably worried about a potential out route or a option route by Ingram. I'm not sure why he floods that far out, but because of that, he goes for the guy about 4 yards upfield who has room to run instead of going for the underneath. I love the decision. Also love the ball placement. In terms of direction, don't like that it's low. Remember we talked about some of those sidearms coming a little bit low? I love that he throws it to the inside, allowing his receiver to catch and turn upfield. Don't like that this basically almost hits the turf, and you're going to see it right here. Good decision, though. Good read. We're seeing lots of good reads from him. Quick decision. Tries to get over right there at the feet. If this is like 6-7 inches up at the minimum, I'm much happier. But anyway, good play. So now we're in the gun in a 3x1 set. 3 to your right, 1 at the top of the screen. And then we got the ball start. All right. Then we got the run play again. We'll keep moving. Then we got another penalty, so we're going to keep moving. There's the interception, which let's talk about the interception because it was a negative play. Play action, drops back. Traquan calls for it. He just simply should never have made that throw. There's really all there is to it. Traquan can call for it, but the safety has the leverage. He's got the entire underneath. I would not have made this throw. Traquan wants it. If anything, it needs to be at the very back of the end zone up high. If you're going to make this throw, it's basically got to be hitting the bottom of the goalpost. It's got to be something that's a jump ball deep. It is not a jump ball deep. He throws it basically in the middle of the end zone, right to the safety. If you're going to make that pass, it's got to be a very high shot, very back of the end zone type of play where we're tiptoeing the back and that thing, which is fine. Jameis Winston does that throw much better. And this is still an intermediate throw and ends up getting saved based on the penalty. So it works out for New Orleans. But for Trevor, when he makes this throw, he's got to make sure that he elevates this pass and puts it into where it needs to go instead of kind of where he just feels Traquan's going to run. Once again, this is a backup game coming in. Not a lot of rapport with these guys. All that's to be expected in some ways. You get bailed out here. But that obviously is a horrible pass. Horrible. All right, let's move it on. We got the run. Poor AK, man. That front seven is nasty. All right, this is another pass. Play action. We're going to go for another similar route in the corner. We just have to throw it away due to pressure. But I like the idea in terms of the route combination that was given. But this is, once again, pressure. And 4 come. Can't get the outside. And you have it semi-opening up right here. There's a window for Traquan Smith. But gone. And Traquan wants it again. I think Traquan just loves touchdowns. I mean, that man loves catching touchdowns. But nothing to be had there. Now we're going to go to this one. And we try to tunnel screen. I like the idea, but Tampa's defense is better than a lot, especially since they know the Saints run these all the time. Now, this is actually a Michael Thomas play. We see Michael Thomas run this tunnel screen at this point in the field. It's actually a really good sell by Trevor Siemian. I mean, he definitely doesn't flow to that side, doesn't try to give it away. Just a really good reaction by the defense. Let's move it on to the next set. It's a run play. We're going to just move past the run plays. Back to our 2x2. Little quick out pass, and good job by Traquan Smith to make a play here. I really love Traquan when he's in his bag, and I felt like he was having a very good game today. Let me move myself out of the way real quick, and I'm actually going to make it a little bit smaller. There we go. That'll make it easier to watch. Okay. Once again, you see the similar play that we just saw before. Now, and when I say before, we had those short curls. Now, this time, Kamara has got a blocking assignment. If he's got no gap to fill, he would go out. But you've got, once again, a little short curl, an out, short out. This is actually the route concept that our friend Ross Jackson hates. He hates these little 5-yard out routes. But it works for Traquan. He goes and makes a play, gets a first down. Moving on to the next was that Kamara play. And then we're going to get to this one where they try to go wide and then try to hand off. And you get okay, but yeah, Ruiz, when you're turned around, that's not a good sign. Love this one, though. And this is a Saints staple, this fullback release for the TD pass. I'm actually surprised it works, to be real, because it's such a Saints play. You got good motion here. You got Adam Trautman, and then you just release. Good job by Mark Ingram, who was fantastic blocking today, which obviously one of the reasons they went and got him from Houston. And then just a great pass to get it above the arm and outside to Arma, TD. Really loved it. This is a great design, and we've seen the Saints use this a lot. Systematically dismantling this defense by death by 1,000 paper cuts. So this is a big one. This is the Kevin White long 38-yard pass, and there's so much to see here pre-snap, and I love what Trevor Siemian reads, and then he makes a really good throw. So the first thing that he has to read is the off coverage and the leverage. So this cornerback is in half-man relationship. And what it means by half-man, same thing that we're talking about offensive defensive line. He is playing halfway through the receiver. So like if this is the receiver's body, he's right here. So that's half-man. It's a really weird drawing, and there's a fly in my room that's getting on my nerves. We're not even going to edit it out. You're going to enjoy the fly. So you see the one-on-one matchup. Then the next read is, so we see the half man, which generally means we have outside leverage. That's good. We want outside leverage because look at this. Safety, middle of the field, closed. What is that telling you from what we talked about earlier? Remember, we're making these pre-snap reads at quarterback. One of the most important things that you have to do is know what's coming and be able to decide where you're throwing the ball before the play even starts. It's very difficult to do, and this is a good job of doing it. So he knows based on this, we're going outside. All right, now right here, it's won by Kevin White. Now the throw's got to come out no matter what because it's timing. But as you can see, they're playing with a robber. See this little robber safety? Basically like a cover 3 robber or cover 1 robber. Man up, man up, man up. And this Kevin White's got it because he's got outside leverage, and the press here just doesn't work at all. I think the corner just underestimates Kevin White's speed. Never really gets in on him because if you're going to give outside leverage, and which is fine if that's how you're playing boundary side, you've got to press hard and use the sideline to your advantage. And we talk about this all the time, that if you're going to play this coverage where you're not jamming hardcore at the line, you're not breaking them inside, if you're going to use the outside, you can't give the outside space. You've got to work the sideline. Kevin White does a good job to duck his shoulder underneath the jam and then works forward. And as you can see, spacing, oh, you actually can't see because there's not enough screen, but he's still got a solid 2-3 yards between him, similar to how it is up here. See how you have this amount of space? Kevin White's got a little bit more space, and that's good. That space is what helps him win this route. And then the perfect ball placement right over the top to him. Wish could have helped hit him in stride. Kevin White's feet kind of getting caught up here with the corners. He's trying to break through that outside and capture the leverage, which he does. Love the duck under. And then there you go. And this is just a simple 3-route concept. You had 2 verticals and a post. And it's a great read by Trevor. Knows exactly where to go. My favorite thing about Trevor Siemian probably is the mental processing aspect of it. And y'all know that I love mental processing as probably my primary attribute for any position. So the reason I like it so much here is he never sells where it's going. He's not a guy that's going to bird dog. He might not be the most accurate at times. He might make silly decisions, but he doesn't sell things. And that's what you see here. Look, he's staring down the safety. He is staring down Winfield Jr. before knowing exactly where the ball's going. He knows pre-snap where the ball's going. I love that about him, that you can see the wheels turning. You already know what's going to happen, and that makes your offensive line's job easier because quarterbacks who can do that are typically going to get the ball out in 2.5 seconds or less. If that's the case, your offensive line is going to be put into a really good spot. They don't have to block as long, and you can throw 2 spots. Now, the other drawback, touch has not always been his forte. Love this pass, but this is not something that he's done consistently. If he is starting to do this consistently, as in what I watched and studied when he was at Denver has changed, that really helps elevate him as a better option. But let's just keep going. That was a rough play. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh. Rough. All right. Moving on to another 3-by-1 set. Kamara coming out the backfield for a little option route. Pressure, nowhere to go. Love that he runs it. He's not Jameis Winston, but I love that he ran it and got a few. Now, this is also the one I think Alvin Kamara is trying to yo, you're out the pocket. Get it to me. See Alvin Kamara break through? Alvin Kamara's like, yo, throw it to me. I might have a touchdown. Look at Kamara. And I get Siemian's running for his life. And the line of scrimmage is about right here. But, if you loft this to Alvin Kamara, it is nothing but green grass for literally 20 yards. But, it's just one of those plays. You take what you get. You move on to 3rd down. Little things that you would like him to see in film when you come through this today. Hey, we need to make sure that we hit this next time if you're in a scramble drill. But scramble drills are unpredictable, and you really just need to make sure you're safe with the football. And I appreciate that he is in this one because I'd rather have that than him that the interception in the end zone. That was not good. All right, moving on. Next play. This was the run play that didn't go anywhere. James Hurst as a pulling guard is just not. It's not Andres Pete. All right, back into our wide set. Love this, man. There's that sidearm. This was a 4th down play. So he knows he's got to get the ball out. And I love him going to who's become a premier receiver, in my opinion. Just do it. I love the exaggerated outstep here by Deontay Harris. He perfectly sells this route to open up the middle of the field. You're going to have him do a little stutter. Basically, he's faking the outside, and he's going to bust back into a slant. And this also allows this vertical route to push a little bit. So this looks like we're selling to the outside, and it's a good job by Siemian to get the ball there, throwing from an off angle and throwing from a varied arm position. Now, accuracy, not great. Now he's on his back foot. He's falling back. So this is something we talked about with Jameis Winston sometimes, where he wasn't having a stable platform. Accuracy was an issue. But he gets the ball to where it needs to go and ends up being a 1st down. So you can't complain too much, but obviously this ball is going to the outside instead of the inside, a little off. I'm just glad Harris caught it. You can see it here from this end zone angle to get a little bit better idea of what actually went down. All right, here we go. right there. So obviously you'd like this ball to be right here instead of right here, but at the end of the day, you get the first down. That's what matters. Now we're going to move it on to AK back in the backfield. Another run. This is his best run of the day, so I wanted to watch it. That was easily the best run of the day. It's a good job by Reeves actually getting the second level, who struggled, in my opinion, a little bit today, or yesterday. Good job getting the second level there. Then we're going to do another play action. Now, one thing about these play actions I don't necessarily like is this man loves the tight ends and stuff. If you're going to go for a jump ball situation, to me, the call is not go to this corner route with Trautman. I want to go backside here. And I know it's probably not the right call because this is going middle of the field. This is going corner. He goes to the right one. I just honestly have a bias against Trautman. I don't trust him. I really don't. So let me say this. Siemian's making the right call. This is what he should throw. He should throw to the outside leverage tight end who doesn't have middle of the field safety. Since I don't trust him, I'd rather go to Callaway breaking in on a post route right into the middle of the field and just hit him on the S. But it's just because I don't trust Trautman, man. Trautman, you got to prove it to me, man. You got to prove it to me. Right now, I don't trust you. And I feel bad for that. I really do. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to besmirch your name. I'm working through some things. Tight ends are a sensitive subject for me. Then we get the Wildcat, which is a really interesting formation. I don't know how much I love the play call here. Hurst is a pulling guard once again. Just doesn't seem to get a ton of movement. But anyway, they tried it. So it is what it is. All right, next up, we got another handoff and decent run, but ends up right there. We get a little bit of a loss by Hurst. And I said, people thinking that we're not missing Andres Pete, especially in the run game, are crazy. He's also been better in the pass game. Hurst is not bad, but man, just you can tell there's a step down in this area. All right, so now we're going to get this motion play. I like the motion. Gives you an idea what the coverage is. Also gets that 3-by-1. And if Traquan catches this cleanly, it's probably a touchdown. This is kind of a variation of a tunnel screen. Basically a short bubble, because we're closer to the line of scrimmage. I love the play call by Peyton here. I just need Traquan to catch it. It's actually a good pass, literally right in the numbers, and you see it right there. If this is caught cleanly, it's touchdown. It just ends up not working. Ends up going down at the 1. So, I mean, it is what it is. You end up getting this touchdown by Kamara anyway on another play that's kind of bobbled, and you're going, why are we bobbling plays now? It's really concerning. But a little pitch, hits him in the hands, and just kind of clunks through. Thankfully, he gets it. And then great job, Adam Trautman here. I gave him a little bit of crap a few minutes ago because I didn't trust him as a receiver. But as a run blocker, he's done a lot better. This is very Josh Hill. Look at this. Holding this block against a very, 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 very good linebacker. You get lots of love from me on this play, Adam Trautman. I'm sorry, I don't trust you as a receiver yet, but man, this is fantastic. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That does not happen if it is not that well blocked. All right, let's keep going a little bit. Keep going. Got another play action pass. This time we're running Yankee again. This time the Yankee is not as clean and is also very well covered. Ends up being a sack. And what I mean by it's not as clean is the timing is a little bit off. So if you know it's here, tough to get off the jam. Here's the post route, and then here's the deep end. Takes a long time for this play to develop. See, the break on the post is really late. Then they had dropped back into a short zone where it was pretty much well covered either way. Now, because they had the short intermediate, they dropped David back in, linebacker back into the hole. The safety is able to stay back and bracket. This is basically a 2-route concept with a short dump off. Nowhere to go, ends up being a sack. I like the smart play, take the sack. Don't force it. Don't force it. You can see it from this angle. And there we go, there's a sack. All right, moving on to the next one. Plays us, films almost 30 minutes. Jeez, have to wrap it up here in a second. All right, almost a play action, and then this is just a smart throw the screen. Let's move it on up. Another screen attempt, and then we're going to go to this little motion. We're going to motion him back. This one? No, it's not the one. All right, there's one motions him back. This is the right. This is how this play is designed. I hate the decision here. Just because the play is designed to go to Harris here doesn't mean you jump on it because they read it perfectly. I don't make that throw. Nope. That's asking to be picked. So once again, some bad decision making at times that you have to worry about. Because he sees it, he's just trying to make it happen. That is never open, ever. That's something the film room page is going to be like, don't you dare do that again. Throw it away. Throw it away. Oh, man, I'd really hope this play was going to be a big, nice run, but some good range. Good range by linebacker. Gosh, he's so freaking good. Anyway, moving up. This is the bobbled one. Love that he manages to get it back, roll out, and then throw it away. Like, he saves a negative here. Saves a negative. All right, one more. We really don't need any more. I think we've seen a pretty good idea. Because remember, this one game's not enough to build a scouting report or anything, though I've already had a scouting report from his previous time in Denver. But, yeah, I think it's pretty good. And I love these wide splits, by the way. Look at this little quick bubble screen look to it's basically an RPO look. Even though Saints don't really run RPOs, it's the same type of look. So you're going to have it right here. It's going to hand it off. Click. And then there's Harris waiting for a little screen that's not going to come. But, yeah. Good little run. Anyway, so I want to know what you think of what you've seen in today's video besides the fly that's flying. Can you even see the fly? I don't know if you can. But if you enjoyed the video, please let me know by liking it down below. I need to make myself bigger because I feel like I'm too small at the end of my video. Bam! Better. Also repping the old Mark Ingram jersey because, well, shout out. I love that my man's back. That's one of my favorite people to ever play in a Saints uniform. So, what did you think about Trevor Siemian? What did you think about the film study? Did you see anything in here that you like, love, hate, dislike? I want to know what you want to know below. And if you have questions, well, I'm here to try to answer those questions to the best of my ability. If you have film questions, game questions, how's the game work? Well, that's my job to tell you. And hopefully this gave you a little bit of an idea of what the Saints could be looking at moving into next week against the Atlanta Falcons. Or we're back to watching Taysom Hill film, which I won't mind. We'll do that. Y'all are amazing. Who dat? God bless. I love y'all. Deuces. That's me. I'll catch you on the next one. Howdy.